In the spring of 1945, a little picture book titled The Three Railway Engines was written by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry. At the time of its publication, it stood out due to its brightly covered full-page illustrations as opposed to other contemporaries at the time. Its unique detail to real life rather than focusing solely on whimsy. And most importantly, its well-written, passionately created, and at times humorous, stories. The book's sequel, titled Thomas the Tank Engine, sold exceptionally well, resulting in an entire series of books being written and published by not just Wilbert, but his son, Christopher, titled The Railway Series. These stories paved the way for the eventual television and toy juggernaut Thomas and Friends. But today we're going back. Back before the toys, back before the Ringo, back when Thomas wasn't even the main character. Today, we take a look at the first piece of Railway Series merchandise, the first piece of Thomas merchandise, and it isn't even of him. Today, on the 80th anniversary of the original stories, Percy is making a visit to the railway. In 1965, model and toy company Meccano released the first piece of Railway Series merchandise outside of books, the O-Gauge Percy the Small Engine train set. This is, without question, the oldest piece of Thomas the Tank Engine merchandise. This was not a range of models one could choose from. Meccano only made Percy, and that was that. Naturally, today, one would think, well, that's weird, why not just make Thomas? But back in 1965, there was no Thomas and Friends show. There were just the books from the Railway Series, of which Thomas only appeared in the title of maybe 3? In this classic series of books, there was no main character. Each book was about a different train on the fictional Sodor Railway. But clearly, young readers gravitated toward the young Percy character. The book, Percy the Small Engine, was released in 1956, just 10 years before this toy's release. And if Meccano was trying to get kids to buy a toy of any character, they chose well with Percy. In Percy's book, he's depicted as a funny, mischievous, playful little engine with still quite a lot to learn. Arguably the funniest and most relatable character in the series to young readers at the time. So here we see the train set as originally released by Meccano in 1965. As you can probably imagine, it looked a bit nicer than this. Here we see artwork of Percy rolling past a station, giving a cheerful wink as a crowd looks on in excitement. The artwork is very well done, truly has a painterly touch to it all, and looks quite similar to artwork from the other books being illustrated at the time. Let's take a moment to look over the box design, going for the orange color scheme that the original book had as well. What a cute little feature. Opening up the box, we see Percy, some rolling stock, a key to wind up the motor, and a loop of plastic track. Now I hear some of you say, well, hold on, you said this was O-Gauge, yet it comes with toy track? Well, yes, that is true. I'm using the term model quite generously here. This was sold and packaged as a toy train set. However, Meccano made many wind-up clockwork O-Gauge models during this time of regular engines, and reused some toolings to make Percy. While the body is plastic, the wagons are plastic, and the track is plastic, the chassis and wheels are all metal, and when placed on standard O-Gauge track, Percy fits like a glove. I'd like to first take a look at the rolling stock. The wheels are plastic and the axles are metal. These clearly aren't winning any awards for detail, but are painted nice and bright for the attended audience of this train set. Interestingly, the wagons are very colorful, but in the illustrations from the books, rolling stock never appears that way. But hey, you get what you get. They have these molded hook couplers so they can only go one way, but that's not bad. You get a truck and a van, It's nice to have some variety. Now we're going to take a look at Percy. Understandably, any young viewers watching this video will immediately note that this face looks nothing like Percy, but once again here, this is what Percy looked like for a solid 40 years before any of you were even born. I see nice attention to detail based on the illustrations, such as Percy's nose and eyebrows. Of course, the face has that vintage kid's toy look, the slapped-on runny paint and the very wide smile, but this was just normal back then. Maybe creepy today, but endearing back then, you gotta remember that. Percy is, I guess, molded in this very, I don't know what to say, not pastel, but maybe like a minty green kind of color. The cylinders are molded and have stickers to showcase detail, and Percy's boiler bands are stickers as well. Unlike the book illustrations, however, is Percy's nameplate. Percy is not actually depicted with a nameplate, so this is exclusive to this model. A very nice feature, though, is the golden finish on all of Percy's separately fitted details. His dome and his whistle have this lovely golden shine to them, even the windows as well. Percy does have an open cab, open to actually release the springs inside the clockwork motor. You're not fitting a crew in this thing, there's no floor, and the number 6 is a sticker by his coal load. The buffers are not painted, but again, this was sold as a toy, so it's whatever. So yeah, not any insane detail here. This is a cheap toy, or rather, was a cheap toy. But now let's talk about the legacy of this set. Well, obviously, the set is the first piece of Thomas merchandise ever made, so that makes this a very desired piece. Interestingly, however, the train set sold poorly at the time of its release. In fact, just to try and make some money back, Meccano quickly discontinued the set and repackaged it as the Play Train. The re-release is nearly identical, but the re-release was sold for many years after, removing the face and replacing all gold parts with red plastic. The Percy nameplate was removed, but the train does still carry the number 6. So this train set was the first of its kind, suffered poor sales, and was outshadowed by a re-release. That ticks all the boxes for, frankly, being nearly impossible to find today. Every now and then, a listing will show up on second-hand sites like eBay, but expect to pay a pretty penny for them. 9 times out of 10, they're not even in best condition. Alright, with all that said, why don't we take Percy to the tracks and see the train in action? Alright, so I know I'm going to get a bunch of people in the comments saying, Percy is a British design train, you've got American rolling stock on your layout, this is sacrilegious! Remember folks, my layout is completely fictional and not real life. If you'd like to make your own proper layout, you go right ahead and do that, I won't stop you. But I like my layout the way I made it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you would like to see more like this, please be sure to subscribe. If you are interested in reading the tales of Percy, Percy the Small Engine has been republished for many years in collections and as standalone releases, still being relatively easy to find today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.